Yeah, both of you just have a seat. Yeah, I want to tell you both something. As I told the group a week ago, I was sent down to Florida to study something moderate. I'm having trouble with that word. Monitor it, if possible. This thing was supposed to be elusive. For some reason, the group wasn't having what I was telling them or selling them. I do not know why. A little interesting to me. Maybe it was to you as well. Yeah, because I know they spread that. Yeah, I don't know why they were spreading that information. I don't know why some people at this institution have been trying to discredit me lately. It's interesting. I've had issues, yeah, I know. Going back a while now. I don't know why I don't just leave. I will, make their worst nightmare come to life. Possibly I'll form my own group. But anyway, I want to talk to you two about it. So I want you two to have this information, especially if you're the ones going back down there. Yeah. I saw some stuff. Like I said, this thing wasn't elusive. Not necessarily wanted to be found, but it wasn't elusive. Had my own experience, like I said, with it. It was monitored. I did it for almost 10 days. Two instances of seeing it. But yeah, this area of Central Florida is, it's not like the vegetation and the environment is not, it's not like up here in the north. Very tall trees, at least in this part, it's not tall trees and a lot of open space. This is like brush. You have this smaller, like saw palmettos, other little bushes, and then there are trees that can get somewhat tall, but they're not tons of branches on them. They just kind of go straight up. They have a couple little branches come out. I forget what they're called. Maybe they're pine trees. I don't know. So I went. This is, like I said, it's interesting. Like this brush, you got to go into it. You got to go through it. You got to, you can walk through it, but it can be tough walking because you got to push through this stuff. And you got to watch for snakes. There's rattlesnakes down there and stuff. So you got to watch for things. There are Florida panther down there as well. That's been confirmed. Wild pigs, armadillo. There has been a sighting of a bear down there. Deer. There used to be a lot more deer in this area. There are less now, and this has nothing to do with what I was tracking, following, monitoring. But was down there. And first night I was just, searching some brush today and tonight. I'd bring a flashlight. You don't want to stay out there too deep because then it's harder to see shit. I say this vegetation makes it so hard for you to see the ground and what's down there. There were marks on trees, but those were left by wild pigs, like rubbing up against these trees. And this doesn't matter. This was too low off the ground, regardless. Unless this thing was on all fours, but I don't think this thing travels on all fours, to be honest with you. Anyway, first night I was doing that, going through certain areas. Nothing doing the first night. Second day, I found some torn up clothes. I went a little deeper, and this is the thing, this area is not like enough people live in this area, but it's not, it can feel middle of nowhere, but it's not. You have a state road very close, a town 15 minutes away. It's very close to that. It's not, now it's its own place, but it's not its own community, but it's weird. I had a couple theories I'll go over, but so yeah, second day I went a little further. And like I said, I'm just covering ground, kind of going almost by half acre. The way this place is set up, you can kind of look on a map and get an idea of half acres. You're going to be off a little bit, but you'll know what you search. So I was putting in posts with some little ribbons on them to know the ones that were in. I mean, I was going to search them again anyway, but so I'm doing that. And I find some ripped up shirt. There was blood on it. I think it was in XL. It was a t-shirt. It was ripped up. I found that. I did find a cell phone. This thing was pretty busted up, and it just kind of crudded up with dirt, and it's gotten some, rained on multiple times. This phone I looked up was a 2017 model. Now, that doesn't mean much. Couldn't get into it. This thing was destroyed. Even our best couldn't get into this thing. Like, it was done. 2017 model, I mean, you try to base it on how often people change cell phones. I don't know. I mean, based on the shirt, bloodstains were very dry. I mean, they weren't able to date that, but that shirt and phone could have been in there for 8 months, 10 months, maybe up to a year. Now, the way this place is set up, it's north, south, east, west. Pretty much all of it. There are some patterns a little further down. I was doing a specific, section of 4 up and down blocks, and all the way down to this lake area. Because my recon and my briefing, it said a lot of it was in this area. I did go to some of the other quick kind of breeze throughs of some of the other side of this community, and I found nothing. Even the people I interviewed, it was all people over there, and they even said that, I talked to people I know who live on the other side. Not the other side, but, other areas of this community outside of this one, and they're like, what the hell are you talking about? Very strange. It's like, I don't want to say confined to a same spot, but it's doing all of its action in this spot, in this area. And, so anyway, I found that, sent all that stuff back. Second night goes well. I heard some weird noises. I was staying at family's residence, because, full disclosure, I have family in this area, in this community, so I was there. They have no stories of their own. So, and they live in the hot spot. Second night, I did hear some weird noises. It was kind of like guttural sounds. Could have really been anything, and stuff. So third day, go look around, don't find anything. Third night, this is where I had my first sighting of what I'm going to tell you about. This is extremely creepy. I've seen a lot of stuff in this thing creep me out. I wasn't necessarily terrified or anything, but I was definitely creeped out, startled. So I was in the bathroom, right? Just got done taking a shower. I'm getting dressed. And There's this bathroom has a bathroom, and then it's like the regular shower, sinks, tub is here, and then there's a little separate spot with the toilet. You gotta close the door because they have a screened-in pool. So if you're using the pool, you can come in and use this bathroom while the other door is closed without going through the house. And it has a high window. Right, this window's got to be, we'll say, about 7 feet off the ground. I'm 5'11". It's 7, maybe a few inches more than that. And I'm doing my thing. I'm over by the sink, and I just hear like a little, like some kind of noise, you know. And then I'm always like, I turn my head towards the door because that's where it's coming from. There is something. It had like the face. This thing. First of all, I'm able to see most of its head, the eyes, everything. Like, I'm talking from the top. Couldn't really get a full look of its mouth. Realistically, this thing had to have been 7'5", 7'6". And it was looking, and it saw me. It was kind of just looking, though. It wasn't doing anything. It didn't even try anything with the door. Like I said, I heard some noises, so I looked. It wasn't even, like, I don't know, scratching. It might have just been the thing walking up. Interestingly enough, there is a motion light over there that did not go off, and it does work. Because the next night I tested it. This thing had like a weird, it was not like a werewolf type thing. But its eyes were like, it was almost, they had like cat-like eyes with, you know, the slits now that I want to say, like, you know, the up and down. They weren't expanded, that's the thing. Which is weird to me. Why weren't they expanded at night? Actually, no, is it the light? Oh. No, it doesn't matter. They should have been opened up. All cat species, they open up. It wasn't. But I was looking, it had more of a cat-like head, but it was like, very hard to describe. Like I said, I looked, I saw it briefly. It was maybe 10 seconds, and it kind of just went away. Like I said, I was startled, a little creeped out, because you know, I'm not used to seeing 7.5 feet cat creatures. They're like, it almost, like, I couldn't, like I said, I couldn't see the full thing, so it had like, that's why I was looking at Florida Panther. Maybe this is some kind of a mutation, or I don't know if this area is cursed, or I said there's werewolves, skinwalkers, werewolves. I don't know if this thing was a skinwalker for cat species. It's possible. It's creepy though. So, you know, like I said, then I went outside that night. I didn't see anything. I didn't even see tracks, which was weird. Also very weird. That's actually really, it was really strange, actually. Next day I continue my thing. Nothing happens for like the next 3 nights. And then that, I think it was like the 7th day. I'm back in there. I'm checking over areas. I found some other stuff. I found a rifle and a handgun. This was once again deeper in. Like I said, this place isn't massively huge, but if something ends up in the brush and no one owns that land, it's gonna sit there. You know, no one's gonna go in there. No one walks into these brushes. You know. Those were rusted out badly. Those have been there for a bit. I don't know if people were trying to hunt this thing, or because you're not allowed to actually hunt in there. People do come in, but it's possible they did come in and this thing found them and killed them. I didn't find any bodies. I did find a skull at one point, and the tests on that came back inconclusive, which was also weird. the thing is, it was so just the second time. Let me get to the second time I encountered this thing. I went out at night. Oh, that's 2 nights. I'm like, I have to go in here, geared up nicely. Had one of our special flashlights, so I'm getting good illumination. Went pretty deep in, and I saw something. It's close to the lake, kind of on the far corner of this place, if you're looking like the northeast corner. There was like a makeshift shelter made up. It was, sticks, some leaves thrown over top. It was like in between two rocks, because in the corner of this place and then further out, there are some ruins of some old buildings from like the 1800s. I forget what they were, but there was like two kind of like foundation, like almost they would have been walls, and it was like a setup, like somebody set this up. I was kind of chilling out there, or this is one of the spots. I'm assuming this was for the thing. But I saw it. I went, and investigated that, took pictures, sent them back. A little further out, and I saw it. It was over by the water. Kept my distance. I kept my distance. Because at this point, after I saw the thing, I turned my light off and put my goggles on, my infrared goggles on to see. This thing was absolutely 7.5. Now, when I saw it at first, it was crouched down. It was kind of not drinking the water. It was kind of like in there. I don't know if it was trying to catch fish or something. Maybe snake, turtle. And then, I was keeping my distance at this point. I had to have been, 25 yards away. These goggles do a good job with distance. And then the thing gets up, and this thing definitely was like 7.5. It was fucking huge. All right, now I'm getting nervous because I'm like, I'm packing my gear, I'm packing my weapons. This thing concerns me, okay, because it wasn't just tall. It was like, this is one thing I couldn't tell. I only saw the head from the window. This thing was like almost buff, and it's funny to say, but and I was quiet. I didn't move. It was screwing around, doing some stuff. It walked around. It walked like this thing was walking, and it had the features I couldn't tell because the infrared's on. And it had distance, but it definitely was like a cougarish head. And it had claws on its hands, but they weren't like paws. It was like more like just claws. Like, and these things looked long. They had to be like out to here, 3-4 inches, just sitting there like this. And it kind of was lumbering, and it went a little further that way. And I was like, you know what? I'm not following this thing. I got a lot of footage of it, and I came back. And like I said, it was almost completely upright. Like, it was slightly slouched. I walked in. I wasn't following this fucking thing. I'm telling you right now. And I told everybody else, and they were like, yo, no shit. And they tell us, don't engage with this shit unless it's attacking you. Do not start anything with anything we're going after. So we'll have information. That thing records. So I sent all that back. Once again, all shit's come back. Inconclusive in that no one else, there's been in the world, there's no other sightings of this type of thing. Once again, I went back there the following day. This thing, and I'm like, oh shit, am I gonna fuck myself here? There's nothing there. Everything was still there, but this thing was not staying in that thing. Of course, I could have other things set up. I'm thinking this thing has intelligence as well, because it's making shelter. This thing made that shelter. Nobody else did. So that was a little nerve-wracking for sure. And then, I sent them all the info and everything. Went back during the day. I couldn't find, once again, this thing, I don't know, it's so light-footed. It's not leaving prints of anything on the ground. And I saw it had legs and feet. Why the fuck are there no prints on the ground? I don't know. Similar to another case, but this is involving a person that was on camera, so I don't know. it would explain the stealth capabilities of this thing. If it's not leaving footprints, you're not even fucking hearing it. And that's what I also said. I forgot to mention. This thing didn't make much noise at all when it was moving about. It was fucking weird. All right, I don't know how it's not making. If it's ice, like I said, it looked whole. If it is not, I don't know if it turned into some kind of mist or some shit. It has capabilities of not making sound. I said I didn't find anything else there. And that was it. I heard some weird. The last night I heard some very deep growls, and I had my little meter thing. These things were high up there in the decibels, so this could have been coming from half a mile, 2 miles away. It's a big enough area to where there are miles to it. It's not huge, but. And I left, and I was like, all right, I got enough information here. People told me the stories, but they're not telling me about it. There was no, it was just about seeing things, hearing things, no one being killed. I found some crap, some bloody stuff, and some guns and shit like that in 2 different separate areas. This was, none of them in the stories mentioned any of this stuff, so either hunters came in, somebody from the outside came in, walking through there, who the hell knows? This wasn't someone that lived there, unless they're lying, but I don't know. It was definitely a little crazy for sure. I want to go back. They don't want me to go back, which is strange. That's why I don't know why they acted so weird. That's why I'm like, do they have other information on it? If you two go back, I'm going to give you some stuff, and we're going to see some, I'm going to show you some things, all my info I'm going to give to you that I got, and just keep me in the loop on that, all right? Yeah. All right. Yeah, thanks for listening.